Unbelievable story of vegetable seller. Paul was a young man living in a small village called Green Valley. He was only 21 years old, but he had a big responsibility. When Paul was just 5, his parents passed away. Since then, he had to take care of his elder sister who was getting ready to marry and his young brother who went to school every day. Paul woke up early every morning, even before the sunrise. He went to the vegetables market to buy fresh vegetables because he knew the villagers loved fresh and healthy food. He sold vegetables in two ways. In the morning from 9 to 3, he pushed his cart through the village street, calling out, "Fresh green vegetables for sale." Everyone knew Paul's voice and trusted him because his vegetables were always fresh. In the evening, from 7 to 11, he set up a small stall near his house. People liked buying from him after work because he was friendly and his vegetables were the best in the village. Even though two other sellers, Mr. Smith and Mrs. Brown, sold vegetables at lower price, people still preferred Paul's. They didn't mind paying a little more because they trusted him. Paul worked hard every day to provide for his family and ensure his sister's happy wedding. He knew his parents would be proud of him. Mr. Smith and Mrs. Brown grew jealous of Paul's success. "How does he do it?" Mr. Smith grumbled. "His vegetables are expensive, yet everyone buys from him." Mrs. Brown agreed. "It's not fair. We work just as hard, but no one notices us." One day they followed Paul to see why people liked him so much. They saw him smiling at customers, chatting kindly, and offering the best vegetables. People loved talking to Paul and trusted him. Mr. Smith and Mrs. Brown tried to copy him, but no one paid them much attention. Frustrated, they planned to stop Paul for good. One evening, Paul noticed an old woman who always asked about prices but never bought anything. She lived alone in a small cottage, and Paul felt curious. One night, as he was closing his stall, he saw her again and decided to talk to her. "Ma'am, I see you asking about vegetables every day, but never buying. Is something wrong?" Paul asked gently. The old woman sighed. "Your vegetables are the best, but I have no family and I survive by begging. I can't afford them." Paul felt sad for her. "From now on, come to me every night before I close. I will give you the leftover vegetables for free." The old woman hesitated. Oh no, dear boy, I can't take them for free. I have little money saved from begging." Paul shook his head. "Please take them. I must sell fresh ones every day, and it would help me too." Tears filled in the old woman's eyes as she agreed. She was touched by the Paul's kindness, but Mr. Smith and Mrs. Brown saw this and became even more angrier. They decided to scare Paul away. One dark evening, the Paul was packing up. They followed him down an empty road. Suddenly, they jumped in front of him. "Paul," Mr. Smith sneered, "you think you are better than us, huh? selling expensive vegetables and giving them away to beggars. Mrs. Brown added, "You have got too proud. It's time to teach you a lesson." Paul was scared. He knew they didn't like him, but he never thought they would attack him. "What do you want from me?" he asked, trying to stay calm. "Leave the village," Mr. Smith demanded. "We don't want competition." Paul looked around for help, but the road was empty. Just when he thought he was in real danger, the old woman walked by. She saw what was happening and immediately screamed, "Help! Somebody help! Save him!" Hearing her cries, Mr. Smith and Mrs. Brown panicked. They looked at each other and ran away into the night. Paul stood there, shaking with fear and relief. The old woman rushed to his side. "Are you okay, my dear boy?" she asked, holding his arm gently. Paul nodded. "Thank you. You saved my life." The old woman smiled warmly. "I couldn't stand by and do nothing. You have been so kind to me." Paul looked at her gratefully. "Ma'am, you are like my family too. I don't have a mother, and my sister and brother would love to have someone like you around. Please come live with us." The old woman was surprised but happy. "Oh, Paul, that's very kind of you, but I don't want to be a burden." "You're not burden," Paul insisted. "We have plenty of space. It would mean a lot to us." After thinking for a moment, the old woman smiled. "Well, if you are sure, then I do love to." When they arrived home, Paul introduced her to his sister and brother. "This is Mrs. Johnson. She is going to live with us now." His sister and brother greeted her nicely, but they could tell she was kind. That night, they all sat together for dinner, and Paul felt grateful. Despite of danger, something good had come from it. Mrs. Johnson had become the part of their family. In these following days, Mrs. Johnson settled into their home. She quickly became a beloved member of the family. Paul's sister, Mary, loved having her around and enjoyed her advice on cooking and wedding plans. Paul's younger brother, Michel, loved listening to her stories. Paul himself felt relieved. His burden felt lighter with her there. Evening became special. They sat together, shared stories, and laughed. Mr. Johnson brought warmth and happiness that have been missing since their parents passed away. One afternoon, as they enjoyed the sunshine, Paul turned to Mrs. Johnson. "I can't thank you enough for coming into our life. You brought so much joy in our life." Mrs. Johnson smiled. "Oh, Paul, you and your siblings have been a blessing to me. I never expected find a loving family again." Paul felt happy. He realized that family was not just about blood. It was about love, kindness, and support. He silently promised himself to always protect and cherish the happiness they had found together.